Okay, abuzia ma kwabashon so edeba Ghana politics avenue so abuzia yembonra yensimu ice USA ice omo a eche omo arrest Ken OforiAtta no sisi ano investigations akoso a Ken OforiAtta okoko pie mu ewo US abonten no or the letter ba abonten se ne ho mfa no na okọ eche ayaresabia okọ hospital na HSA wakosa no ho yare abusuya reporter yenya ne se HSA Ken OforiAtta no wanko any hospital bia efrisenka okosa hospital na enka hospital no cramp no ebe extend ne visa no e de amane se ombetro letter bia na report bi de akoma ice pain for se HSA ne hospital na obai no process na onamu no enyanso nti omo extend ne visa na mano bet hospital no since say ye arrested Ken OforiAtta no omo intervene which is Ken OforiAtta wanko any medical facilities there ewo US aborting so empaying for the lawyers atena se e de honsem to the amom yanko na yankonkoti ensema ekoso unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabi Ghana politics avenue so and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any update be ever dropping on once to me aka
Mr. Wayo, in that same vein, an argument could also be made that he really did not go into any medical facility that was organized in terms of taking care of him.
Yeah, but how do you know?
Assumption. Because listen to me, because if he did, one of the first things they will establish is his identity through his passport. And the administrative sector of the medical facility would have known that he had a stay his stay, not his visa. They're two different things. There is a stay and then there is a visa. He may have had a visa of 5 years, but the stay in entering at one time granted him 6 months. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. So the medical facility would have known that his stay was due for expiration and they would have gone in for an adjustment of status to extend the stay. So if a medical facility who he is under care with did not do that, then we have reason to think that maybe he's not quote unquote assigned to
if they didn't do that, why is that case problem? If the medical facility did not do that, why does it become the ordinary citizens problem?
Okay, gentlemen, let's
that's my issue.
Gentlemen, let's do this now. I get that. Okay, now let's focus. Let's focus on what this.
That's why Mr. Wyatt. I'm just going back to Mr. Wyatt to tell Mr. Wyatt that listen, whichever way he wants to dice this thing, there is no way out. He's totally guilty.
Okay, so
him and his attorneys, both.
So what's the way out now? What's the option for him? You said there's no way out, actually.
For who? For Mr. Ken?
Yes.
Mr. Ken, the guy's a fugitive. He has to come back home, like all the hundreds of the other MPP folks who are running away. We can't find anybody around.
Are you sure they're running away? I mean, who's running away?
Well, if they were not running away, then, of course, Mr. Mahama and his NDC are not doing the job that they need to do. It's because they have cost us 760 billion cedis of debt. And bless it, one thing that I want to make clear, see, our attitude as a country has always been to wait for the problem to happen and then attack the symptom. This is attacking a symptom. Why don't we start thinking as a leadership in government and block these holes so that we don't hemorrhage, so that if we have somebody like a Ken OforiAtta takes office, we wouldn't have to wait for him to totally decimate our financial systems and now send a whole team going after him. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. And plus, blessed, while you're at it, isn't this the same NDC folks who approved his nomination when Mr. Akuffo appointed him? It's the same NDC. He had filled for the first term of the MPP. And the NDC knew without a doubt that Mr. Ken OforiAtta was a liability to the state. But they still went ahead and approved him for a second term as a finance minister. So now who is to blame? Who is to blame? And this is my point. Why wait for the problem to happen? They could have totally said, hey, we weren't going to accept Ken OforiAtta's nomination. Give us somebody else, because he has shown us their records. And blessed, if you were to go back to 4 years of the first administration, first term of the MPP, you can look at Ken OforiAtta's decision-making and red flag it right there and then. The NDC approved them. And now he comes and screws things up, and now you chasing after him with our money still, which doesn't make any kind of sense. So that's my point. And I'm sure Mr. Wayo will agree with me on that one.
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Wayo?
You agree?
Yeah, Blessed. You see, the fundamental agreement we all have as a country is that when public officials are entrusted with the trust of the people, especially when it comes to our funds, if you go out there and misuse and misapply our funds, that gives the nation a greater detriment. We all agree. So I agree that people must answer for their deeds, which is not in contention. I mean, Ken must answer. And any other public official, whether NDC official, whether NPP official, when they are entrusted with public duty, that goes along with certain appropriations. When they misappropriate, they must account. Fundamental. My argument is about the procedure we use as a country in doing these things. You see, what I'm trying to tell my brother Kofi is that it is clear that Ken did not seek for extension on his passport. What does that mean in law? It means there's no intention to overstay. We can debate that over and over again, but it's clear.
This is the same
like
thing. Arguably, this is the same kind of posture I believe the lawyers for the former finance minister adopted. And here we are today, you agree?
Yeah, so that's the point I'm making. So
yeah,
I'm saying
but it's not helping. It's not helping, is it? Because now he's in bigger trouble now with the U.S. authorities.
Not that it's not helping. Not that it's not helping. I'm only trying to, you see, when we try to sweep issues under the carpet, sometimes it doesn't help the debate.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm asking is because, I mean, what's the big deal if you have a former finance minister who served that long, just simply appear before the OSP and tell the OSP what you've done or what you haven't, and we make progress. Yeah.
That's what I'm explaining. If you can bear with me, that you do give Kofi time to explain. So do give me time to explain.
All right, okay.
No
bias here.
I'm dealing with criminality, and I'm saying that in the realm of criminality, two cardinal principles: actus reus and the mens rea. The mens rea is the intent. It is clear from this issue that if Ken OforiAtta had the intent to overstay and run away, the moment he went to US, typical of him as an African, he would have gone for extension to extend his stay, but he didn't do that. What does that mean in the terms of mens rea or intention of a man? Yeah,
but how was he going to extend? How was he going to extend his stay if he was supposed to have been in the hospital by then?
No, exactly the point. And like Kofi said, if the medical
so that's staring apart the issue of intent, because if you're not capable of applying at the time and you claim, as you told us in your statement, that you're not able to function.
No, it's based on his visa. Yeah. He went for a medical treatment, but it is tied down to the visa. So if the visa says 6 months and the medication takes 2 months, it doesn't mean after 2 months come back. You can exhaust the 4 months left. So it's the visa. And I'm saying that the education Kofi has given us, it's clear that Ken, when he entered the US, did not seek to extend, which to me as a lawyer,
I'm saying to you now, that why are you not looking at the possibility that this is someone who, through his own family, through his own lawyers and spouse, told us he's not well, that he wouldn't have been in the right position or right frame of mind, say, to be doing anything extension, right?
Yes.
So he wasn't capable then. So he wasn't capable then for you to talk about the intent.
So what I'm saying is that what the OSP and the Attorney General should have done, which I think Kofi will agree with me, is to have gone through the process with Ken, not in that style where we put out there.
Via Zoom? You wanted the Zoom? You wanted a Zoom interrogation?
No, I've always made a point that if we really wanted to prosecute Ken, Nothing stopped the Attorney General of this country. Nothing stopped the prosecutorial powers of this country to ignite and begin something. It is still prosecution. That's my position. We didn't use those options. We are simply saying that we are waiting for Kofi Kuranchi in person. We are waiting for OforiAtta in person, physically. And I'm saying that it is getting it into a limbo. What I want to establish so that the country will understand is that it is a procedural matter. Law is, like we have now come to accept, the law is the law. Tissues and menstrual cannot be swept under the carpet.
This is what I wanted to do.
It is clear that when OforiAtta went to the US, he didn't immediately take steps to extend his stay 2 years, 3 years, to show that in 2-3 years time, I'm not coming to Ghana, the records would have been there. But now here we are. He didn't look for any extension. It simply means that the duration on his passport, when it expires, he has to come back.
Okay, whatever the case.
OSP and Attorney General should have worked within that remit, and let's bring this man down for him to face accountability.
But he wasn't.
Mr. Wayo, in that same vein, an argument could also be made that he really did not go into any medical facility that was organized in terms of taking care of him.
Yeah, but how do you know?
Assumption.
How do you know?
Because listen to me. Because if he did, one of the first things they will establish is his identity through his passport, and the administrative sector of the medical facility would have known that he had a stay his stay, not his visa. They're two different things. There is a stay and then there is a visa. He may have had a visa of 5 years, but the stay in entering at one time granted him 6 months. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. So the medical facility would have known that his stay was due for expiration, and they would have gone in for an adjustment of status to extend the stay. So if a medical facility who he is under care with did not do that, then we have reason to think that maybe he's not, quote unquote, assigned to
so if they didn't do that, why is that case problem? If the medical facility did not do that, why does it become the ordinary citizen's problem?
Okay, gentlemen, that's my issue. Gentlemen, let's do this now. I get that. Okay, now let's focus. Let's focus on what this means for the individual. Whatever the case, Kofi, it appears there's no way out. He would have to come back to Ghana, correct? In the coming days.
That's what we want.
Would it be deportation or a voluntary return now?
No, deportation.
Okay. No way out, you say?
No, if they have not filed for an adjustment of status, it's deportation, and he might actually serve time here before they deport him.
Oh, okay. So it's not coming that fast, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No. What I'm saying
is,
this is the other twist to this whole thing, that listen, even if they're Ghanaian lawyers, at the very basic level, they should know that OforiAtta did not enter the U.S. as a citizen or as a permanent resident. So he had a visa that granted him some weeks, a period of time for him to stay. So their competence should, in terms of doing their cross checks, dotting the I's and crossing out the T's, should have told them that these are some of the first things that you do. But they didn't do it. You see? So
and that's why possibly bringing in the angle of the state intervention. We saw the ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Smith, visit some of the ICE detention centers across the U.S. Obviously, he would be conversant, I believe, with where our former finance minister is being kept now. At least some diplomatic solution. You bring him down, and he's already facing charges here.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is listen, he's going to serve. I don't know how long. It depends. This is a high-level case. So after serving, then he'll be deported. That's what happens. That's the normal progression of, situations like this.
Except to say that he opts to return to the country.
Even if he decided that he wanted to return, he would have to. U.S. don't play around, man. Listen, he would have to serve a term, unless, of course, I don't know, diplomatically, some some agreements are struck. But other than that, he's going to serve the term, and then, if he's not lucky, maybe go through Guantanamo. God knows where.
Come on.
Listen.
This is a former finance minister. He's not as extreme as you want to make him. He's not a terrorist. I mean, for Christ's sake.
He's not. He's not.
You are giving all the time. You are giving all the time to Kofi.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, Kofi. Kofi, you'd have to be quiet for 5 more minutes. Let's listen to.
and you see, Kofi's trajectory is clear. Everybody watching you this evening, your wonderful show this evening, will know where Kofi is coming from. And see,
what are you suggesting? I mean, why are you sort of suggesting that he's against the former finance minister?
All the submissions are very clear that accountability and the NDC. But you see, the point is that fundamentally, I agree with him. Accountability is very clear. Whether NDC, MPP, CPP, we must be accountable for public duty and appropriations. What I'm trying to say is this. For instance, like you said, whether the man is going to come back or not, I think that two things are going to outplay here legally. Already in the system, there's some extradition legal regime ongoing. Then all of a sudden, ICE goes in there. Immigration, Customs Enforcement, whatever they call it, that is right, goes in there, and all of a sudden we hear Ken has been picked up. And then you rightly said that it seems our ambassador, Victor Smith, His Excellency, is moving in there, visiting places. I want to say this quick and smart apprehension of Ken under ICE is an NDC projection. I'm just saying it. But that is not what it is. Forgive me on that.
We don't have evidence on that, do we? Are you saying, okay, and let's look at it this way. Are you possibly saying that the person who might have triggered the lead to the ICE team in the US is an NDC man or woman? Is that what you're trying to say? Or this is entirely an NDC operation?
That is what I'm inclined to believe.
Do you have evidence?
You and I as Ghanaians.
Do you have evidence to what you're telling us now, sir?
But I'm saying I'm inclined to believe, and this is politics. I'm inclined to believe politics, diplomacy, all mixed together. There are so many Ghanaians in the US today, not Ken OforiAtta alone, whose visa will not be up to date. In fact, there are people who are in the US today, Africans, and let's cue it to Ghana, whose visa or whose stay in the US have expired 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, some even 5, 10 years, they are there, Kofi knows. But ICE have not gone for them. But yet, Ken OforiAtta, for whatever reason, ICE has fished him out. That's interesting, but let's put that aside. But I'm saying that...
Yeah, but see, the same way, Mr. Wyatt, the same way Ken OforiAtta did not do things right as the finance minister, because this is so basic. This is so basic. If you're at this high level, and you know the whole government of NDC and the whole people of Ghana are looking for you, one of the first things you would do is not to mess up with your relationship with the U.S. government. Because you know the U.S. government don't play this kind of nonsense.
Thank you, allow me. So what I'm saying is that now that there's an extradition legal regime ongoing, which started before this ICE detention, as a lawyer, what I'm looking at is every case is based on the facts, and every legal dispensation is case-by-case basis. What I'm thinking is that if Ken's lawyers are able to put in some bit of legal presentation, we shouldn't be surprised that his extradition defense will have to arise, because you see, Ken has been picked up by ICE, which borders on overstay in the country, which consequences is deportation to your country.
You're speaking as though you work for the U.S. government. You don't. And here's the thing: we just can only hope that things do not go wrong. So you're being positive. That's all you're doing for now. Because you can't speak on authority. You can't speak on authority as to what the U.S. would do.
No, I'm speaking based on the clash of legal regimes.
I get your point. Yeah.
So let me try to land so that your viewers will understand the point I want to make.
You've been landing since, and that's where my difficulty is. Okay, so let's do this. How about...
Blessed, hold on. What I'm trying to say is that because of the extradition regime which has already kick-started, which is time advanced than the ICE detention, if Ken's lawyers put in the argument that, yes, you've arrested him for his overstay in your territory, But already he's here before your court with competent jurisdiction saying that going back to that same place you want to send me to have a problem. And I'm telling you, and we must watch it, the extradition legal regime, if we are able to put it clearly, will now outweigh the way people think ICE arrest will bring Ken back.
Anyway, that's what his lawyers are telling us in the statement that we've all said. Kofi, but let's not rule out what lawyer government is pointing out. The possibility that the intel could be coming from someone who's aligned to the NDC, because I've seen very funny memes on social media and stories and posts of people indicating that now we have the Ghanaian community looking out for brothers who may be overstaying, report the case to ICE and probably get a few bucks, you call it in the US, isn't it? Some
yeah,
cash.
But you see,
cool
but
cash,
this is exactly what I'm talking about. So for something this fundamental to go over Ken's head or his legal team's head, that's totally unacceptable, because that's one of the things that everybody needs to be aware of moment you enter the United States, that you have a time limit. Whatever your situation is, if you don't put in for an adjustment, do not mess with that time, because once you do, you're not coming back into the US again. It's as simple as that. So for somebody who is this high level as Ken OforiAtta, has a legal team who I would want to think that they're very competent at the very least, right? For something like this to go over their head, and if the argument is he went through channels, medical facility to get his situation taken care of, it just doesn't add up. And with the U.S. Authorities, if you just prove to them that you're not very law-abiding because you violated your...
So Ken OforiAtta and I go so drop it no home stories at the mama Sisiano and paying for any say hospital Ken OforiAtta ekase okono US no wanko. Ya better man someone Japanese kokotisa and some way at my Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell or send any updates be a better dropping on so once give it to me. I can't, Madam.